Hello and welcome to Political Insider. I'm your host, Herald-Tribune political editor Zach Anderson. With me today is Joe Gruters. Joe is the chair of the Sarasota GOP. He's also vice chair of the Republican Party of Florida, and he's co-chair of Donald Trump's Florida campaign. Joe, welcome to the show.
Thanks so much, Zach.
Always a pleasure to see you. So another big night for Trump this week. He wins the Nevada caucus. He's now won 3 of 4 early voting states. He's looking pretty dominant right now, but you also see a lot of Republicans who are kind of resistant, who are concerned about his campaign still. Do you think he can unite the party if he wins this nomination?
There's no question. I think that he is the best candidate set up to unite the party. I think he's the only candidate that could really expand the pie for us in the general election. I think that because of his success in business, especially here in Florida, I mean, you got to look at it. He's been here in Florida as a business owner, as a successful employer, as an investor. He has a home in Mar-a-Lago. He owns Doral, one of the greatest golf courses in the country. It's like he's a Floridian himself, but there's no question that he has the momentum. There's no question that he has the ability to unite the party. He's a champion of Middle America, and I think that certainly in the general election, as we're trying to appeal to voters outside the Republican Party, I think he's the one to do that. I think with minority groups, with everybody else, he's a candidate with his pro-jobs message, with the success that he's had over the years. I think he's the candidate.
Well, you just mentioned minority groups. That's one reason a lot of people are concerned about him in a general election. There's still a lot of Republicans who look towards the general election and wonder how he stacks up. If you look at polling right now, there was a Fox News poll last week that showed him losing to Hillary Clinton by 5 points. There was also a Quinnipiac poll that showed him losing to Hillary Clinton by 5 points. And it showed Marco Rubio actually beating Clinton by 7 points. And so there's some people that think Trump is going to be a disaster in the general election. And a lot of that is his positions, things that he said about Hispanics, about Muslims. What do you think? I mean, in the general election?
I think everybody, minority groups, middle America, I think what people want is they want 2 things. They want to be safe, which is the president's #1 job. And I think that with the future President Trump, I think that you could probably be assured that he will build the wall on Mexico and he will protect our borders. He will keep Americans safe. And number 2, it's the opportunity for jobs. And that's what it's all about. He said he wants to be the greatest jobs president in the history of this country. A lot, almost what our Governor Rick Scott says here in Florida all the time, jobs, jobs, jobs. And I think when people are looking at trying to be a good provider for their family, they say, how can this individual as president help me be better with my family and myself? And I think what Donald Trump will do with his agenda and his jobs plan, I think that a lot of people will buy in. And I think that he has the best chance out of the Republicans to unite not only our party, but to pull in people from these outside groups, whether it be, blacks, Hispanics, all different religions. I think all of them, at the end of the day, if you look at Nevada, Donald Trump won, I think 45% of the Hispanic Republican vote.
Yeah.
So he completely crushed it. And I think the attack from some of the other candidates on the Republican side is, Donald Trump can't win the general. I think at the end of the day, when you actually have Donald versus Hillary, I think there's a lot of stuff. Plus, I think Hillary may be campaigning from jail, but I think that Trump, when you look at the 2 histories of the 2 candidates, and you look at the success that Donald Trump brings, the tens of thousands of jobs that he's created over the years, the incredible success he's had in all types of different things. I think people want a winner. They want America to win again. And I think Donald Trump gives us the best chance to make America great again.
Now, a lot of establishment Republicans actually think Marco Rubio is a little bit more towards the mainstream and can cross over. And Florida's going to be critical. The Florida primary, if Trump beats Rubio in the Florida primary, a lot of people think it's game over. Basically, it's his home state. So, he's sort of coalescing the support here now that Jeb Bush is out. Former Florida governor had a lot of support. He's starting to pick up a lot of that, and some people think that he could, be competitive here in Florida. Do you expect a tough race? What do you think the difference maker will be?
Well, certainly, if you can't win your home state, you shouldn't be in the race. And certainly, Ted Cruz on March 1st has Texas. If he loses, he should be out. If Marco Rubio loses, what you're hearing a lot from these candidates, especially Marco Rubio, saying, 65% of the people don't want Donald Trump. Well, I could say the same thing. 80% of the people don't want Marco Rubio. Rubio.
Yeah.
And
he's even losing in the Florida polls right
by
now,
40 by
but
20,
a lot of these
25
polls
points.
are kind of outdated. You know, now that Bush is out of the race, it'll be more interesting to see how the polls stack
Bush
up.
is 5 to 10%. Even if they all went to Rubio, he'd still be 20 points behind Trump. Marco Rubio has an uphill battle even in his home state. I don't think that he has the manpower on the ground, the operation on the ground, nor do I think that he has the pulse of the primary voters.
Yeah.
You can't say, well, we're going to do good, but he's been unable to even win a state here in any state so far. We've had 4 elections. Donald Trump's won 3 of them.
And Trump's been in Florida a lot. He's had 4 rallies in Florida. He's got his campaign office here in Sarasota. How important do you think that is, the early attention he's paid to this state?
Listen, you can't win a state like Florida that is as large as Florida and that is diverse as Florida, both from a geography standpoint and population standpoint, without having some type of ground game. Obviously, Mr. Trump had the vision to put a team on the ground all the way back in October. And I think that the Trump team, the fact that we have the Trump headquarters here, once the primary is over, you got to think that it's going to be awesome to have the Republican headquarters of Florida, the most important state in this election cycle, right in our backyard, because this will be ground zero for the entire country. It is going to be absolutely awesome. But you're right. It's going to be very tough to win the state of Florida in the primary if you don't have a ground game. Donald Trump is the only candidate on the Republican side that has had an active organization for the last couple of months.
Rubio, the sitting U.S. Senator, probably has a built-in network too. You know, we've been talking about strategy, about ground game, about some of these things. Issues matter too. And Donald Trump has some sort of unorthodox positions for a GOP candidate, especially as they relate to Florida. He's for opening diplomatic relations with Cuba and for establishing stronger ties there, which a lot of Cuban Americans in Miami would probably be opposed to. But on the other hand, he's one of the only GOP candidates who has come out really staunchly against changing Social Security and Medicare, which could play well in Florida with a lot of elderly voters. How do you think Trump stacks up on the issues in Florida?
Well, he certainly wants to protect what's been promised to the seniors in America, and he is one of only 2 Republicans to start off with. Now the only Republican that says don't touch these entitlement programs. He could build the economy, to grow the economy, to make sure that we have the resources to pay for all these promises that we made, and we certainly shouldn't break these promises. I think Donald Trump is in a great position on all these issues because at the end of the day, what you got to think about is Trump is self-funding.
Yeah.
So that means he's only beholden to the people. And what I think that's his greatest appeal because you see that Trump is winning with the very conservatives, and he's winning with the moderates, and he's winning all groups in between. And it's because people are tired of the same thing year after year. No matter who we put in, no matter what party wins, we get the same garbage out of D.C. People are tired of the ineffective representation that we have in D.C. People want to change, and the only way we're going to change it is if you go outside the mainstream and you vote for something that's different. Donald Trump is different. He's beholden to nobody but the people. He will represent the people. He's going to hire the best and brightest, and he's going to make sure that America is on the path to greatness from here on out.
Well, it's going to be a fascinating primary. I know you're going to be right in the middle of it, so we're going to check in with you often here going forward. Joe, thank you for being here. I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much, Zach, for the opportunity.
Thanks for joining us for Political Insider. Please tune in next week for another edition.